Hello friends, today we are going to study about CAS 6, that is revised 2017, effective from 1st April 2010, that is cost accounting standards on material cost. So with introduction, like as you know, it's issued by the Council of Institute of Cost Accountant of India. And what is CAS 6 material cost? Like it deals with the principles and methods of classifications, measurements and assignment of material cost for determination of the cost of product or services and the presentation and disclosure in the cost statement. This standard does not deal with packing material. So basically this tell you about the what is material cost. So material cost is not just a raw material cost, it is for others also. Like it include direct cost also and indirect cost also. So what are the components should be added in material cost? Let's discuss about that also. That first we can say raw material, that includes process material, any additives for manufacturing also. Then second is any consumable. Third is semi-finished goods, accessories also. Accessories, as you know, it's an additional tool or jugs, drive or anything that comes along with your product or machine, with whatever you purchase. And basically this is included in large scale, large machines. So these are they are also called as the additives part of the machines. And any spare, next is any spare material, whether the material like is imported or exported. So any spare material should be there. Like company always says to give spare parts or to take spare parts along with the machine, as they are the necessary components in functioning the process and for my production of goods. So I have purchased machinery. In addition to that, I have purchased spare parts also for my production. That spare part will be my material cost, but that spare part is a specific, that spare part that we have purchased along with it, this should be specific to a particular production or equipment. Then that spare part we can capitalize in our machine cost. That means overall it means that whatever spare parts we are purchasing along with the machine and it is used for a specific to a particular production, then we can capitalize in our machine cost. And last not the least, any other indirect material. So in this case, except like finished goods, everything will come as finished goods is not our material cost. So definition of material cost says direct and indirect material cost shall be included. And as we read, like packing material cost is not included in material cost. Like let me brief you more. Sometimes like many industries try to see the basic consumption and like what are the key components of product. So they majorly ask our cost accountants how much is the key components of the products that may be procured per outside or how much from inside. From this they want to try to see how much actual raw material is required in the process. So this can be asked by for any cost accountant. Any company can ask them this. So in the process, so like or maybe like if they are planning for any new products, or they want to know how much is the raw material, process material, additives, spare parts that may be also required in the process. So because that may be, or like for the new process or product or variants of if there is any variance of the old products, if you are manufacturing earlier, then there may be some dilutions also in that. So the raw material percentage actually decides their relevance. So all over is the point is we have to identify the process material, what is additive, what is bought out component, sub-assembly accessories, semi-finished goods, consumable stores, and any other indirect material. Once you identify the raw materials and other your process material additives, your work will be very simple and set to go. And one more, what is bought out component? As I use this word, the bought out components is like assembling all the products into one unit to convert into finished goods. So we'll term as bought out component. And let's move further now. So this is the material cost I explain you. So the standard deals with the following issue. There are the three issues that specifically CAS 6 deals with: principle of valuation of receipt of material, principle of valuation of issue of material, and assignment of material cost to cost object. So these objectives, as you know, all are same with all standards. Important definitions we got, like material cost we gone and so what is cost object, as we have already studied in earlier standards also. So these are any activity, contract, cost center, customer, process, product, project, service, or any other object for which cost is certain. Defectives, and this is the area where we have to study for in CAS 6, like material, product. What is defective? Materials, product, or intermediate products that do not meet quality standards, or that also include, this may include reworks or rejects. So defective is, it is like quite important. We need to identify these definitions also, because ultimately how much cost is involved in those defective, which may be like which may be in which the products may be discarded also, as many company used to write off these defects also. So they say that these are the defects and we are throwing them or discarding them. So this is the area where the cost accountants actually needs to do work, and they actually to be the cost which is actually to be calculated to those defectives. So you have to do separate calculation for the defective cost. It is not necessary that every industry will do same, but you can easily identify the defective product, that definitely you need to be calculated the cost separately. And what is that defective? That definition must includes reworks or rejects also. Even after reworks or rejects, they may end as a defective product. The cost, how much which has been involved or which have been consumed by a defective, that need to be calculated. So this is the defective. What is the defective? And that also include reworks and rejects. So reworks is like definition defectives which can be brought up to the standards by putting in additional resources. Rework includes repair, reconditioning, and refurbishing. So this type of rework basically occurs in majorly it's occur in like chemical industries, like fiber processing, plastic modifying for filing, for like films, paper processing, resin. So like this is the process of machine over there. So like we take example for one process of that, like if there is a process of a machine that runs for one batch runs for 25 minutes, but in mid some issues happen or some that goof up occurs, that in that case my machine run for like we can say for 15 minutes only. That is half the processing done. 50% part had been done, but 10%, 10 minutes is also important to finish that particular process for finishing the product. For that proper standard have been, and for all this there proper standards have been set up. So in this kind of case, actual reworks happen for the whole process for remaining 10 minutes. Like in some case you have to restart the whole process from 1 minute, but in some cases you can go to for 10 minutes only, that is resume the work that is left. Or in some cases you can use the process 15 minutes product again from the like once the product is in processing and in mid is when it stop, then we can take that product also after 15 minutes and we can recycle it again from starting initially. So this is the, there may be defective product in the mid also, and after processing also in output work also some defective products can be produced. So this rework, that may be there may be separate rework. You may need to calculate those costs separately once you come to that valuation or oblique cost. However, these reworks are nothing but putting in additional resources. So it is not just rework for 10 minutes, but for that you need an additional resources also. So this is the rework. Now what is rejects? The defectives which cannot meet the quality standards even after putting in additional resources. Rejects may be disposed of as waste or sold for salvage value or recycled in the production process. As a professional, we need to observe carefully these reasons behind of rejections. In some cases, financial statement, like in some company also, financial statement stated products rejected with the value of 0. In this case, we can't rely on the company also on that statement of valuation of financials given amount. If there is certain amount also given, we can't rely on that. We have to close examine on that, and that cost need to be identified. Whatever the rejects on that dispose of with the additional resources, if there it is that as earlier that additional resources should be required, that is getting rejected, then the proper valuation, proper cost of that reject we need to be calculated. And if it if there should if there is anything changes occurred, and you have to show in that in your financials and go it impacting on profit and loss amount, and you want to return from profit and loss account, then you should definitely do calculation, and separately that justify your calculation also, and why those rejects is needed. So you have to proper mention there these things. So this is the rejects. Intermediate products, and intermediate product is a product that requires further processing before it is saleable. Okay. Scrap, as you know, discarded materials having no or insignificant value, and which is usually either disposed of or without further treatment, or reintroduced in the process in the place of raw material. Waste is material lost. Spoilage is that does not meet the quality requirement. So these are the I earlier said, these there are the three areas functions in material cost. We're going to study the principles of valuation of receipt of material. At the time of buying the raw material cost, at that point how valuation will be done. So in this we take valuation of receipt of material will be calculated, you can say, as purchase price plus duties and taxes in which no ITC is there, right? Plus other charges minus discounts also. So net of discount, which gives us the value of purchase of raw purchase of valuation of receipt of materials. So this is the receipt of material, in which we can say finance cost shall not be part of material. Any demurrage or detention charges or any penalty shall not form part of the cost of material. Normal loss or spoilage of material prior to reaching the factory or at place where the services are provided shall be absorbed in the cost of balance material net of amount recoverable from suppliers, insurer, if there is an insurance also, or recoveries from disposable. Losses due to shrinkage or evaporation, and gain due to evaporate हो गया, shrinkage is there, then absorption of material, then before the material is received shall be absorbed in material cost. That should be absorbed in material cost to the extent they are normal. To the certain limit of extent, then only we can take into material cost. We can't take fully, but we can take it with a corresponding adjustment in the quantity as well. The forex component of imported material shall be converted at the rate of date of transaction. This is the important, anything import or export is there, then imported material cost should be calculated on the date of transaction has been occurred. Any subsequent change in exchange rate till payment or otherwise shall not form part of the material cost. If there are any changes occur or question anything occur, that should not be part of the occur. That should be taken as on the date of transaction only. Then the principle of valuation of issue. In this, which material we are issuing, and how the valuation of the material issue with reference to these three methods, we can do valuation at the time of issuing and material for production of any raw material, you can say indirect material cost, and at the end what is the value of the finished good. For the valuation we use three methods, that is FIFO, first in first out, LIFO, last in first out, the weightage average method. These are the methods which help you to do in valuation of issue of material. Where the materials are accounted as standard cost, the price variance related to material shall be treated as cost of material. Any abnormal cost shall be excluded. Any cost of transportation that we have covered in CAS 5 also, so it should be included in that. And the third point is assignment of cost, that can be called as allocation or apportionment of material cost, or assignment of material cost to a particular cost object. So in this there is direct material or indirect. Okay, so it is if it is directly identified into one unit of finished goods, so this is an allocated cost. And if it is not directly allocated, then there should be an apportionment or reasonable on a reasonable basis. Or so this is the basic objective of CAS 6. So that is to bring uniformity, that receipt valuation, how we should do, what should be added and subtracted, what to include it or not, and how the things should be standardized, and how the principles defined relating to them also with reference to the method of valuation of issues should be done. Then um, allocation and apportionment of material cost in CAS 6. And raw material also we can say buy from outside also, and if there is any selling manufacturing also, then the buying from outside we can calculate it like purchase price at agreed price or invoice value, plus taxes, no ITC will be there, plus insurance if there, minus discount will gives us the purchase price. That is if you are buying from outside. If you are manufacturing inside, selling self manufacturing, when we manufacture, the cost can be identified in making the raw material, how much like direct material cost, direct labor cost, direct expenses cost, overhead will with the self manufacturing good cost. So this is the cost of the indirect material cost. Presentation, it is also one part of the cost accounting standards also, which define that direct material shall be classified in the cost statement under suitable heads like raw material, components, semi-finished goods, assemblies. So with the criteria of the material, you have to identify them. Direct material shall be classified as purchased, indigenous, imported, and self-manufactured. Indirect material shall be classified in cost statement as suitable heads. If they're you have to identify the heads under which your cost should be certain or you have to present. Then that indirect materials may be grouped under major heads like tools, stores, spares, machine spares, jigs and furniture, consumables, store, etc. They are significant. Disclosure. Quantity and rate of major items or materials should always be disclosed. And major items are defined as those who form 5% of cost material. 5% of cost material who are holding, you have to majorly identify. The basic of valuation of material shall be disclosed. If there is any changes in cost accounting principles, cost accounting standards, you are changing into there. If there is material and any material effect on the cost of material should be disclosed. Whether it should be wholly or partly, that fact should be indicated and separately. Any abnormal cost excluded from material cost that we are not taking into material cost shall be disclosed. Any demerit, detention, penalty, any subsidiary, cost of material procured from related parties, requirement related to cost statement as on shall be disclosed. Disclosures will be made only where significant material quantifiable, and disclosure as always should be stated in cost statement in the body of below the as or as a footnote or as a separate schedule you have to. So this is the cost accounting standard 6 on material cost. So that's for all today. Okay, we'll see you with next video with CAS 7. Till then, bye.